Hey, what is going on, you guys? My name is Spideyco64, and here today we are going to be here to have a look at my 7 least favorite figures from the Star Wars Black Series line from 2025. Of course, obviously, we already talked about my favorite figures of the year that came out last week. And of course, obviously, right now we are going to be going back ahead and we're going to be looking at my least favorite figures. Now, overall, I do got to say that this year for the Black Series line, I do think was a fairly good year. You did have some duds here and there and all that good stuff and whatnot, sort of have you. But for the most part, though, I do think, though, that was a solid year. Now, with that being said, there still were some figures that I just didn't really like. Now, I do want to go ahead and also just say that before I do begin, that this is all just my opinion, okay? Like, I'm not stating my opinion as fact. I mean, that'd be kind of dumb for me to do. I mean, like, that'd be pretty dumb for me to say, like, no, my opinion is factual because I review action figures or, I don't know, or something like that. Everybody, of course, has going to have a different opinion, so that's just something I do want to say, and I'm interested to see what you all think about my list, because I feel like that maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on maybe some of these figures, but we'll kind of go ahead and talk about that. So, and there's only 7 figures that I really just didn't really like from this year, so we'll go ahead and talk about that, and yeah, and we'll just go straight on ahead into the video. We'll talk about the first figure on the list. And coming up to the first figure on the list here, we have Commander Bacara from Revenge of the Sith. Now, this was a figure or a character that many people have been wanting for quite a little bit of some time now, and I kind of think that Hasbro messed up on this figure. Okay, for the most part, the base body, I mean, it's basically a normal clone trooper body, so you can't really screw up there. The problem really that I have with this figure is really with the head sculpt. I don't think that this head sculpt came out that particularly really all that good. To be quite honest with you, I kind of think that the eyes are very painted weird, and it's also very strange because this figure does not have a Jango Fett or a clone head underneath. This is just basically a one-piece kind of sculpting kind of deal and all that good stuff. So really kind of a weird figure, but for the most part, though, I just kind of did not like the way that the eyes came out, and it's not one of my favorite clone troopers that Hasbro put out this year, so that's why, unfortunately, Commander Bacara made this list right here. So there you go. And coming up to the second spot on the list here, unfortunately, Commander Cody made the list. And yeah, to kind of go ahead here and kind of talk about Commander Bacara, I still have the same issues that I had with Bacara onto this figure right here. So once again, Cody, like I do think that it's really good that Hasbro that they did make a new Cody figure. It's certainly one of those characters that has needed an update for quite a bit of some time now. But my problem really with this figure, though, is really in 2 areas. Again, the helmet just looks kind of goofy, and it just kind of does not look all that great. And plus, it's also pretty not acceptable considering the fact of the matter is that we had Lieutenant Gale, which that had a really good clone helmet. And honestly, I feel like that Hasbro should continue off of that sculpt. But yeah, but the biggest thing about this figure that just kind of doesn't really make it for me is just the head sculpt. It's just the normal clone head sculpt. Now, Cody is supposed to have facial scars, but on this figure, those facial scars are missing. So I really do not like that. And really, honestly, it's kind of really unfortunate because, well, I don't know, usually sometimes Hasbro are good with some of those details, but this time they just missed out on it. I guess the only good part of this figure is just really the little Palpatine hologram, and really that's about it. So that's why, unfortunately, Cody made the list. And coming up to the number 3 figure on the list, we have Moff Gideon in his Dark Trooper armor. This might be one of the few controversial takes I know on this list, but here's just kind of the thing about this Moff Gideon figure. At least mine, I don't think it came out really all that great. My figure has a bit of a defect on its leg. I think, what is it, on its right leg, to where it's so warped, and that just kind of sort of, I don't know, that just really kind of killed the vibe with this figure, personally, just in all honesty. And One other thing I do have to talk about here is that another problem that I just kind of have with this figure is just that the head sculpt just looks weird. I don't know what it is, but the face just looks so pale on my on the actual figure. I don't know how to describe it. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. I'm talking here about head sculpts. That is really something that has been kind of just throwing me off with these figures, but I just don't know about you, man. I was a little bit underwhelmed with this Moff Gideon figure. I mean, it's certainly better than the previous one, but this one also has its fair share of problems as well. I guess the only good thing about this figure, or the good aspects of it, is that it's a cool looking look for Moff Gideon, and he does, of course, obviously have his helmet, so I don't have to look at that really weird Giancarlo Esposito face. He looks so weird without his mustache. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why. So that's why Moff Gideon made the list here, unfortunately. And coming up to the number 4 figure on the list, we have the Night Trooper, or I guess it's the zombie death. I don't know what the hell you want to call this thing, but we have the Death Trooper based off of its look from the Ahsoka series and all that good stuff. And yeah, I still don't think this is a really good looking figure, to be quite honest with you. Now, I think the one thing about me that really kind of sort of made the figure sort of weird to me was kind of its proportions a little bit. Like, he kind of sort of does have a little bit of a stomach thing kind of going on. But then again, I actually did compare this side by side with the original Death Trooper, and I kind of realized the original Death Trooper figure doesn't really look that well proportioned either. So this one kind of sort of looks a little bit better, but I don't know, really not that much. But the thing that really kind of upsets me about the figure is really, well, the helmet. I do not like the way that the zombie or the skull is sculpted underneath. I do not like the way that it's, well, painted either. And the paint that they just use, it just looks like crap. It literally has that crap color. I don't know how they messed up this figure. Also, this is another scene-specific look for the Death Trooper. So if you just want the normal Death Trooper with the helmet fully on and not blasted off, well, you gotta wait for another version that Hasbro's going to put out in a 2-pack with, like, Ezra Bridger in his Stormtrooper disguise or something like that. So, yeah, could have had some options with this figure, but no, Lucasfilm want to be weird and say, nope, you can't have any interchangeable parts on the figure, even though they did that with Chimera the Stranger. So, really unfortunate that this is on the list here, too. And coming up to I think, what is this, the 5th spot on the list, we have Director Krennic right here. And this Krennic figure really kind of sort of reminded me of something that low-key the Black Series line kind of does need. And that is, this Imperial officer body really desperately needs an update. Like, it really does desperately need an update. This figure, or this body sculpt, is just really, really old. Like, it is just so old to the fact that, like, I don't know how to describe it. I was kind of, really excited to get this one because, hey, it's Director Krennic, probably one of my favorite characters to come out of Star Wars since, like, Disney took over or something like that. But I don't know about you guys, but this figure is just kind of mid. It's just really sort of mid, and really, Hasbro, they really do desperately need to update this body, especially with those pin double jointed knees, and the elbows are kind of bad on this figure too, and the head sculpt again is really painted weird on mine. Like, mine just has this sort of tannish sort of color to it, and then the eyes are just super damn blue. It's just, I don't know, mine just came out really sort of weird, but this is just not one of my favorite ones that came out this year, so there you go. Just not one of my favorite ones, so that's why Krennic's on the list. And coming to the number 6 spot on the list, we have the ISB Trooper. Yeah, I don't know what it is about any of you, but personally, like, none of the Andor figures, except for, like, the newer characters that they made, they're all kind of just mid. Like, literally, and here's actually the funny thing, is that this is, like, one of the few Andor Season 2 figures that we actually got. Like, there was, like, only a couple other ones we got, like, this one, and then, like, a range trooper, like, another version of Krennic, and, like, some kind of weird party outfit, and like a Cassian and a TIE Fighter outfit and then another version of Cassian. Point of the matter is that Andor just did not really have that many figures, but this was not one of those best ones. I just don't know what to say. This just, it really kind of disappointed me because, and what's funny is that I'm using promo images, but I kid you not, this guy cannot wield his gun in a two-wielding pose. I don't know what Hasbro did in this promo image, but I can guarantee you he cannot just hold his gun in a two-handed pose. He just cannot. And I don't know what I just do not know what it is. But if a trooper cannot hold its gun with two hands, I'm sorry, it's just automatically to me just not a really great figure. And yeah, this is just one of those figures that also peg warmed the hell out of Target. And I guarantee you now, you could probably still go to Target and see one of these ISB troopers over here and all that good stuff. So, yeah, not one of my favorite ones. Just not one of the good ones of the year. So, there you go. And coming to the last figure on the list, and what would you know it, the Magma Guard from Revenge of the Sith, from the Revenge of the Sith anniversary line, quote unquote, has returned once again. And man, I gotta really be honest here with you. I was not harsh enough on this figure when I first talked about it back in 2023. Or technically it was 2024, but you get the point. But man, I mean, this is just like, again, like I wasn't harsh enough on this figure when it first came out. This one is even worse than the one that I got way back when. I mean, it has a good paint job, but for the most part, though, it's still a very crappy figure. It's still very crappy, man. I mean, he can't stand for shit. His elbow pads keep coming off, and there's nothing really redeeming about this figure. I mean, this is just the laziest clanker I think I've ever had on my shelf. So there you go. Just terrible figure. Like, honestly, this is just one of those figures that is just like, my God, it's just so fucking terrible, dude. So there you go. Magma Guard, making it back on the list once again. Very unfortunate. And, well, there you go, guys. That was a look at some of my least favorite figures of the year right there. So, overall, again, a pretty solid year for Star Wars Black Series figures as a whole. And heading into this year, of course, obviously, there are some figures that a lot of people are really anticipating for. Of course, obviously, you know, there's some figures out there that are hitting shelves right now. And actually, a couple days ago, and I'll probably throw some photos up here, but I did see the Black Series, the new wave consisting of Darth Vader, Dual Zen, Jango Fett, Boba Fett in his more screen-accurate looking suit, and Asajj Ventress in his bounty hunter look. But fun fact, or this is something funny, Walmart wouldn't let me buy them figures. So, yeah, so screw you, Walmart. Screw you, Walmart on Bear Valley Road in Apple Valley. So, anyways, a pretty good line, pretty good future for the Black Series line. I'm not so sure if I'm going to be coming back here and making a list like this again, because next year, my whole entire focus is going to be on the Marvel Legends line, and we're just going to have to sort of wait and see how that all goes. But hopefully I'll be back here to once again do these videos. But yeah, that's really kind of about it, guys. So thank you again so much for watching these videos, and with that really kind of being said, I will see all of you in the next video.